And who presents this bride today?
Her mom and I.
Okay. Excellent. Okay, step here. You ready?
Yes.
Okay. I want you to look out before they sit down at all of the faces who have come to see this special moment in your life. This is going to happen so fast, and they're the people who are going to last. And so thank you so much for being here. Please be seated. We are gathered in this beautiful setting in God's creation to witness the marriage vows of Nicolette Johanna and Adam Lubin as they pledge their love and commitment to each other. It's fascinating that in Ezekiel 28, it's described that the Garden of Eden, which we're in a garden, and the Garden of Eden was actually found in the mountains. And so how fitting it is, if only your name was Eve, but that story didn't turn out very well. So it's fitting. It's fitting that your name is not. And we're all just wondering one question together. We all have the same question. Adam, how did you pull this off? I love you so much. God created the heavens and the earth and said that it was good. And the Lord created the man out of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life. And man became a living soul, but God said it is not good. It is not good for man to be alone. I will make for him a helper. And the Lord caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and he slept. And God took one of Adam's ribs and closed up the flesh. And the rib which he had taken, he made Eve. And when he had made Eve, he had made a fitting helper for him, and he presented the woman to Eve. And he said, "This is bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh." Now this Hebrew word, Ezer, is the word helper that was describing you, but really it's a mutual title to you both. And it's the word, in other places in the Old Testament, the context implies a warrior, a helper, an ever-present help in time of need. In fact, it's most often used when referring to God himself. And so it's a very important word. But you two are not taking a covenant just yourselves. You're taking a covenant under God. And so it's a beautiful thing when one person follows the Lord, but when they face an enemy, they could be taken out in a one-on-one setting, but in a two-on-one setting, when two are together, they can overcome an enemy. And when three cords are tied, Ecclesiastes 4:12 says this, "And though one might prevail against one who is alone, two will withstand him, and a threefold cord will not quickly be broken. This is a covenant between husband and wife and God, and it is strong." And so as we symbolize this moment together, the two will now observe the tradition of the tying of the physical cord of three. The blessing of marriage depends on mutual submission and responsibilities to one another. In our present culture, submission is a curse word, but in Scripture, When God describes the way his kingdom works, it's stated like this in Ephesians 5:21, submit yourselves to each other out of reverence for Christ. So Adam, husbands ought to love their wives even as Christ also loved the church and sacrificed himself for her on the cross. So ought men to love their wives as their own bodies, giving honor to their wives, nourishing and cherishing, even as the Lord does the church. This is your holy submission to your wife. It's a myth that marriage is about being happy. No, marriage is far more important and significant than that. It's meant to symbolize the relationship between God and his people, Christ and the church. The Hebrew word that describes this love is ahava. In Greek, it's agape, which is the idea that you're not going anywhere.
Forever.
But he knows what he's found. Adam, when Nicolette and I spoke behind your back, she described you to me in this way. She said that she has seen a real patience in you. She has always felt encouraged and supported and empowered by you. She's attracted to your sense of adventure, and your presence is refreshing to her. But she still feels challenged to believe in herself and to be even greater, to step out and maybe be a little whimsical, and in her words, to go out and beyond. Nicolette, likewise, wives, understand and support your husbands in ways that show your support for Christ. The husband provides leadership to his wife the way that Christ does the church, not domineering, but by cherishing and in sacrificial love. So just as the church submits to Christ in love, wives likewise submit to their husbands in love. Nicolette, Adam would not shut up about you. And I had to cut the call off short because he just kept going on and on. And in some ways, most of us still can't believe this is happening, but truly the words that he used to describe you were powerful and simple and lovely. He said that you were authentically kind, but then he said, before you write that down, he said, wait, she's not simply polite or nice or cordial, but she is genuinely, tender-heartedly kind and cares deeply about others and seeking their well-being. She has a purity of heart that is so unique and evident in her love for life that makes a room feel, if it were possible, it was physically brighter. Adam is attracted to your habit of encouragement. He feels that there is so much to learn about you and finds you fascinating, intelligent, and intriguing, and yet, he said since the first time he met you, he said if home was a feeling, that's what he felt the first time he saw you, and he still feels that way. And the conversation never grows lame or empty, but ripples with depth and intentionality. My grandfather once told me it's good when a couple is in love, but he said it's even better when they are in like of one another. And clearly, you two like each other. And that is a sweet, sweet thing. Something else he told me was that he said you don't marry your soulmate. You become soulmates through life's inevitable mountains and valleys. And so I also asked the two, separate from one another, about a significant moment that was defining for them of their relationship. And so when I asked Adam, he described a significant moment when he was having a particularly difficult deployment overseas. And he couldn't describe it in any other way than his mental health was burdensome, his heart was heavy, and he was deeply discouraged. Moments of danger were causing more stress than usual, and nearing his birthday, he was so troubled and burdened down that Nicolette had gathered encouraging birthday videos from many of you who are here today to send to him, describing how much he means to them. He said that was so significant, it wasn't just for that moment or that deployment, but for his life it was defining, not just for your relationship. Oddly enough, when I asked the same question of Nicolette, she described a time when she longed to care for Adam and realized how deeply she really loved him, seeing him in so much need, he was nearing his birthday. And on this difficult deployment, it brought her so much joy to express her love to him by reaching out to gather encouraging videos to send to him. Therefore, another thing that I should say to you, and this is a pastoral bit of advice. I'm sure there's scripture somewhere about it. But when you feel that your needs are not being met by one another, that's when you really seek to double down on your love for the other. Unrequited love before marriage is sometimes a sign to disembark and to chill out. But after a marriage, when love feels unreturned, it's time to chase, and that's when love matters most. And this is true of the love of Christ towards us, that while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. And when we have the tendency to abandon him and run, he has the tendency to chase us, that we might be saved. Most importantly, be bound together with the tether of never-ending love. If you could boil the entire Bible down to two things, it is love God with all that you are and love one another as yourself. So as we consider the divine mystery of love, I believe that there will be a reading of 1 Corinthians 13 by the uncle of the bride.
رابع شعبير يومي بقادم تي جمت منتا من كارو وخصنا نيكولات آدم وعراهي لا بسات يوالو قادي تشارك بغير ما خادم تزوياها على هيا بايها خيوتا ختا مليتا من كوب فقط ما جاكي العطوهم بإيبي بنا كوبا على هيا أما شكنا باللي بالكل Kuba yorok zelebino, basimel, kuba de bachel, kuba de gerbesiano, ule hatre, ule hava bchuta, ule poyimini agano, ule kare, le hash sedia, ule hade naha, bina ki hade nabuka. Kul min di kihavet, kul min di kihemin, wala kul min di kihash bibi, kul di kihabi. مارن بارك فتنة وكلتن وبكات على عين مالي مارن فتنة وكلتن ولشتيتا مالي شوتا مالي مارن فتنة وكلتن بهاي تعريفة الغنيتا مالي مارن بفتنة وكلتن بتتبع ولد أغنعيد مريا بارتهم أمام شعرتم تدي غرفي يوكي ما تحيو باسيبا أدابا. Thank you so much. God bless you.
And that beautiful language was Aramaic. And so I'm going to read in my unbeautiful East Texas accent the same passage from 1 Corinthians 13, and it says this. Love is patient and kind. Love does not envy or boast. It is not arrogant or rude. It does not insist on its own way, and it's not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice at wrongdoing, but it rejoices in the truth. And love bears all things and believes all things and hopes all things and endures all things. Love never fails. As far as prophecies, they will pass away, and tongues they will cease. As for knowledge, it will pass away. So now faith, hope, and love abide in these three, but the greatest of these is love. Adam and Nicolette, you have come today signifying your desire to be formally united in marriage. And so, as you're holding hands, Adam, in taking Nicolette, whom you hold by the hand to be your lawfully wedded wife, I require you to covenant to cherish and love her, to honor and sustain her in sickness as in health, in poverty as in wealth, in the bad that may darken your days, in the good that will light your ways, and be true to her in all things as long as you both shall live. Do you so promise?
I do.
And Nicolette, in taking Adam, who holds you by the hand, to be your lawful wedded husband, I require you to covenant, to love and cherish him, to honor and sustain him in sickness and in health, in poverty and in wealth, in the bad that may darken your days, in the good that will light your ways, and to be true to him in all things as long as you both shall live. Do you so promise?
I do. Loud and proud.
Now that you have mutually pledged, wherever you go, I will go. You two, not me. Where you dwell, the other will dwell. Your people are now each other's people, your God, each other's God, that they might be equally yoked. So, repeat after me. You ready?
I guess so.
I, Adam, take thee, Nicolette,
I, Adam, take you, Nicolette,
to be my lawfully wedded wife,
to be my lawfully wedded wife,
to have and to hold from this day forward,
to have and to hold from this day forward,
for better, for worse,
for better, for worse,
for richer, for poorer,
for richer, for poorer,
in sickness and in health,
in sickness and in health,
till death do us part.
till death do us part.
Nicolette, would you repeat after me? I, Nicolette, take thee, Adam,
I, Nicolette, take thee, Adam,
to be my lawfully wedded husband,
to be my lawfully wedded husband,
to have and to hold from this day forward,
to have and to hold from this day forward,
for better, for worse,
for better, for worse,
for richer, for poorer,
for richer, for poorer,
in sickness and in health,
in sickness and in health,
till death do us part.
till death do us part.
Now for the rings.
We took no chances.
That's right. Excellent. Thank you, Tark. Whose is whose? Oh, shit. From history past, even before governments and parliaments existed, long before this, the ring was always a signet, a seal of authority. It was a stamp and a sole sign of a familial authority and imperial power. From such impressive precedents do these circlets come with the highest honor and symbolic significance. It vouches at the wedding altar. Here, untarnishable material, unbroken, a circle, become the precious tokens of the pure and abiding qualities of an ideal marriage. So, Adam. Do you, Adam, give this ring to Nicolette as a token of your love for her?
I do.
Will you, Nicolette, take the ring as a token of Adam's love for you?
Absolutely.
You put it on. Do you, Nicolette, give this ring to Adam as a token of your love for him?
I do.
And will you, Adam, take this ring and receive it as a token of Nicolette's love for you?
I will.
Okay. Excellent. And now an unexpected vow. For those of you who are witnessing today, all of us know these two. We love these two. We have seen them through many times together, but I would ask you to take a third covenant today. When the conversation over the phone comes your way, when they're asking for advice, do you commit to the best of your ability to turn them back to one another and towards Christ, encouraging them to fight for one another, holding them accountable to this beautiful moment and this wonderful promise that you've observed today? If you would so commit, would you collectively say, I will, on the count of 3? That was so close. That was so close. Excellent.
Let's
Yeah, that was really bad. We need to do that again. 1, 2, 3. I will. Excellent. You guys, y'all are ready to get married now too. Having pledged your faith in and love to each other, and having sealed your solemn marital vows by giving and receiving the rings, acting in the spiritual authority of the church and the authority invested in me by the laws of the state of Texas and maybe California, and looking to heaven for divine sanction, I now pronounce you husband and wife in the presence of God and these assembled witnesses. You may kiss one another. For what God has joined together this day, let no one tear asunder. It is now my pleasure to introduce to you Mr. and Mrs. Adam and Nicolette Lubin.